Wow, great job, everybody. Thank you for being flexible and knowing your seat number. If anybody is sitting right next to somebody, we probably have a mistake. So we'll, 209. Somebody help that man. Now there's Mrs. Vendong, if you can just weave some magic over there, thank you. Oh, man. Okay. Thank you guys for coming to chapel today. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for choosing Unity for the first time. Freshmen were here yesterday. You guys nailed it today. You were all in your seats like within 10 seconds. That was awesome. Upperclassmen, yeah, a little confusing, but we'll get it, okay? These are your seats for a while. I can't tell you when this is going to end, but we want to have assigned seats. And even when we start living groups in a week or so, at this point we're still going to sit as we are. If we make any changes, we might have you socially distanced as a living group. We'll see how that goes. But for now, this will be our seats. I'd like to open with a word of prayer. Would you pray with me? God, you are good. You are so good. You are the Alpha. You are the Omega. You are the beginning. You are the end. You are omnipresent. You are omniscient. You know everything. You are everywhere. Lord, just help us to rest in that today as we start our first full day of school. Help us to rest in your peace, in your love, in your joy, in your patience. Help those fruits to be born in our lives. Help those fruits to be evident to those around us. Lord, we just thank you. It's been 5 months since our students have been in this room, and we are thankful to be back. Thank you for this gift of today. We pray that you would bless this time together, and we pray this in Jesus' precious name. Amen. So this is kind of like an assembly and a chapel. We're gonna cover some school business stuff, some reminders, some new things, and then we're going to end with some devotional messages. Mr. Baima is dealing with this situation right now. I'm not sure if he's going to be back, so I am going to be speaking his part as well. And if I seem a little choppy, that's because I'm giving Mr. Baima's part of the presentation. But we'll see. Maybe he'll be with us. Special welcome today to 6 new staff members, and technically 7. I already forgot somebody, and I just realized who I forgot, and I had this unsettling feeling I'm forgetting somebody. And I'm going to start with the person that I forgot, and she's not even here right now, so that's maybe okay. But Mrs. Ranke is going to be a new kitchen worker. So if you've been here before and she is here. All right, come on in, Mrs. Ranke. All right. So Mrs. Ranke's joining us. She is married to Jason Ranke, one of our custodians, and for those of you who don't know which custodian's which, he's the guy with the cool shark tattoo on his leg. Do you have a shark tattoo on your leg? No? Okay, all right. Well, welcome, Maggie. Thank you for choosing to join us and join our team. We're excited to have you, and let's all get to know her as she's serving us food. So thank you. All right. And we just hired her like last Friday. So this is like how crazy the summer's been. All right, Mrs. Bile, otherwise known as Josie's mom, is with us. And she's in our library. And so I think she's in the room here too. Mrs. Bile, stand up. There you go. Let's welcome Mrs. Bile. Mrs. DeGroat, Amy's mom. Mrs. DeGroat is teaching you math, and she's joined us from Sioux Center Christian, and I think she's somewhere in the room. There she is. Welcome. Okay, she told me how to say her last name properly, and I'm already nervous. I'm not going to say it right. She was a student teacher here last year, a graduate of Northwestern College, and she did such a great job student teaching. We just hired her, and so she's teaching science. Welcome to Miss Pashaw. Shaw. Everybody say Shaw. Miss Pashaw. Okay. All right. Welcome. All right. This teacher has got the coolest sign outside of her door award from me. Teachers didn't know I was giving an award, but I am, and she's the winner. She has come from Ripon, California. Miss Chris Talsma. Welcome to Miss Talsma. There she is. She'll be teaching world history, world cultures, and law. Mrs. Wolgan, Maddie's mom. Over here. There she is. She's working in the academic support program. And last but not least, we waited over a year for this man, and he finally arrived to teach our choral program and music appreciation from Pella Christian High School last year to Unity this year, Mr. Tim Van Vorst. Welcome to Mr. Van Vorst. All right. We have one new upperclassman. I'm just going to make it really pain-free for her. She moved here from Minneapolis, Minnesota. She's a sophomore. Her name is Ellie Strzok. Ellie, could you just give us a wave just so, where are you? There we are. There's Ellie. Sophomore class especially, just, you got one new student in your class. Just envelop her, okay? Make her feel welcome today. Welcome, Ellie. And we have 74 freshmen that have joined us. They were here yesterday already. They're all probably in the first 5 rows here, bringing our enrollment to 299 students. And I'll be honest, I was really hoping to hit 300, but 299 is awesome. It's a great number, okay? Welcome to our freshmen. Welcome to Unity. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of the changes that are taking place this year. You have noticed probably hand sanitizers everywhere. You've noticed posters. You've noticed some people wearing masks. Let's just talk a little bit about some of those changes. The washing your hands thing, I've never washed my hands for 20 seconds before. That is a long time to wash your hands. Has anyone counted as they've washed their hands? I'm about a 5-second person on average, so just wash your hands, wash them well, wash them regularly. Feel free to wear a mask. This, guys, was a big debate for us at the board level. There's schools that are requiring masks. There's schools that are not requiring masks. There's people that have all kinds of opinions on masks. There's great research out there on masks. Our board made the decision to pick the statement, feel free to wear a mask. That is your choice. That is your right. You should not feel bad if you are wearing a mask, nor should you feel bad if you're not wearing a mask. That really is your choice, okay? And what goes into that choice sometimes is a part of your story that we don't know. You might have a relative close to you who has compromised health, and that's a choice that would motivate you to wear a mask. That is great. You do not have to defend your decision. You don't have to explain your decision. We also want to state that masks are not political. You are not affiliating with this party politically if you wear a mask. You are not affiliating with this party if you do not wear a mask. We are entering into, I would describe, a very polarizing political season. One television station tells you to hate the other guy and everything that's wrong with that person. Flip a channel over. They'll tell you to hate the other guy and everything's wrong with them. I think that's wrong on all levels. And we are going to do our best to build community this year. We are going to do our best to not use masks or politics to divide us. We are going to do our best to build community and respect everyone's story and everyone's decision. Some of our teachers are wearing masks. You can see some of our teachers aren't. Some of our teachers are going to put masks on at certain points of the day, depending on how close they are to you. Some of them aren't. And again, that's their choice as well, okay? So I just really want to stress, we're free to wear a mask. Practicing social distancing. I know that it's really hard to always remember to stay 6 feet apart. And I know in some places in our building today, you just simply can't. You can't be 6 feet apart. And that's where, that again might be where you decide, I'm going to put a mask on, okay? When you can, as best you can, we encourage you to keep a distance from each other. And the last one, and this sounds so wrong for me to say from the stage, but stay home if you're not sure. Stay home if you're sick. I know like last March and April and May, parents would contact me and they'd say, you wouldn't believe it, like my son used to hate school. He's now begging for school to be back in session.
You guys know, some of you said that, right, to your parents. Well, guess what? Once we're back in school and it's week 2, week 3, week 4, you're going to be like, I just wish I could go home. One way to stay home is that I don't feel well today, okay? Don't make up feeling sick, but if you don't feel well, if you're not sure, we really do encourage you to stay home, okay? And I know for athletes, that's a challenge. You don't want to miss the game. If I'm sick today, I can't go to practice, or I don't want to miss this event or that. But if you're not feeling well, be respectful of everyone, and please stay home. Lunch changes. This is the day of first lunch, and wow, is it going to be different, okay? I sent out the lunch groups last night, and I apologize. I think I sent out, like, you guys will know by noon on Monday what your lunch groups are, and people are like, okay, noon was 8 hours ago. Where's the list? Well, we sent it out last night. We were still making changes on the master schedule. We still had a couple classes that we switched with each other, and about 23 people that we had to, actually no, more like 30 people that we had to move yesterday afternoon, so we got that done. You emailed it out last night. It's viewable only, so you cannot edit it. Special shout out to those who started a chat off on the side. We shut down the chat. But anyway, if you haven't looked at that lunch group, look to see that you are at a table, okay? And I've already had 5 people say, you forgot me. And in a couple of those cases, no, it's here you are, you're down here. But in a couple cases, we did forget people. If you're changing your schedule today, that means you're possibly going to be in a different lunch table. We're changing this thing probably every half an hour. But as we go into lunch today, look for a sign, a list that has your table number and a list of people at your table. We're not going to laminate them yet because those could change, but we ask you to sit with your table. And one of the reasons we ask you to sit with your table, one of the reasons we ask you to sit in a specific spot in chapel and even in a specific spot in your classroom is if you are next to somebody who does get tested and does have a positive test for coronavirus, the community health partners are going to ask, who were you around for 15 minutes or more in the last number of days? And they are going to ask for seating charts. And they are going to ask for this chapel seating chart. And they are going to ask, who did you sit with at lunch? So we're trying to keep things the same so that we are as much in avoiding unnecessary contact as possible. That is really why we're doing lunch groups. I can tell you right now, I spent all last week doing almost nothing but lunch groups. It's a lot of work and be really tempting to say, oh, forget it, just throw caution to the wind. But that's why we need to do lunch groups, okay? We need to be aware of who we're with. When you go to lunch today, we never allowed students before to go through that freshman hallway because you'd be cutting in line. Upperclassmen, you know what I'm talking about, right? We always made you go around. Freshmen, you don't know any different. You are going to eat in the cafeteria, most of you, okay? Freshmen, you may go through those brown doors at the end of your hallway and you may go into the lunch line from that hallway. And the reason we're saying that is because about 98% of the people that are going for lunch in the cafeteria are freshmen. If you are an upperclassman, and in some cases there are some upperclassmen that are also eating in the cafeteria, you too, we actually want you to go through the freshman hallway, go into the line that way, okay? If the line comes into the freshman hallway a little bit, that is great, okay? So there should be about 70 to 80 people that are having lunch in there, so go down the freshman hallway for that line, okay? Everybody else eating in the upper courtyard, lower courtyard, or in the, I don't ever really know what to call this hallway, the drama storage hallway or the night center hallway. Doesn't really have a great name, but seniors, a lot of you are going to be eating there. All of you just go like you normally did to get in line, but instead of going to the cafeteria, obviously you'll turn the corner and you'll go this way. And I believe, and Mrs. Skolton, if you're hearing me, if I'm doing this wrong, correct me, but I believe the flow is heading that way, right? Yes. We'll let you give a few lunch instructions.
Hi guys, as much as everything has changed this year, I am trying to keep lunch service as the same as I can, but unfortunately with 6 feet of social distancing, and I can't fit all of you in the cafeteria until we get the new addition built, and then we can do it. So if we're still under COVID quarantine in 2 years when the new building is up, we'll discuss things again. But for now, we do have to change a few things. Mr. Dykstra was talking about the assigned tables. if my numbers are right, do we have 80 kids in the cafeteria?
In a couple lunches, yes.
Okay.
There's 8 tables. In some cases, there's 9 at a table.
Okay, we'll leave it that way then. If you're eating in the cafeteria, if your table's in the cafeteria, you will get fed in the cafeteria. If your table is not in the cafeteria, you will be served out of the concession stand. All right, does that make sense to everybody? Everybody's sleeping on Tuesday morning, first day of school. Okay, good, that means you were up all night anxious to be here. A couple of amendments to that. The salad bar is being offered this year. It is only offered in the cafeteria. So if you are a senior girl or a senior boy or a sophomore, whatever, and you want the salad bar, you are welcome to go to the cafeteria and get your salad bar from there and then come back out and find your table out here. Same thing is true if you brought a sack lunch. You can store your sack lunch in the fridges in the cafeteria and use the microwaves, but we're still going to ask you to come and sit out here just because we need you guys to stay a little bit apart from each other. Another change that we have is normally we would have second offerings right in the window that you could go ahead and grab. You have to be kind now and open your mouths and ask for them. I know the senior boys are not scared of that. I know the junior boys are not scared of that. Just open up your mouth and ask the lovely lady behind the counter, may I have a second sandwich? And she will give you one. All right? Let's see. Break food is also going to be served in 2 places. Juniors and seniors are going to be in the normal place in the concession stand. Freshmen and sophomores are in the cafeteria. We will have a second break line set up. And I will leave it up to Mr. Dykstra to figure out how to get people out of here so you're not trampling each other. There is enough break food. And my one request, specifically the upperclassmen, because I've seen it done every year since I was here, everything's the same. You don't have to touch everything on the list to find the biggest Rice Krispie bar or the biggest cookie or the one with the most chocolate chips. If you touch it, you take it. All right? Imagine the person in front of you has hog manure on their hands and they've touched everything in there. You're not going to want to touch it. Coronavirus is similar to that. You don't want to touch it if somebody else has had their fingers all over it. So be respectful of the people around you. And the last thing, you need to know your numbers this year. You're not going to be punching them in. The ladies at the computer are going to do that for you. So you have to have it in your head. I'm not pulling out the keypad for you to figure out, well, this is how I typed it last year. It has to be this number. And we will know it's you because this year we get to see your lovely faces up on the computer screen. We are happy to have you back. We are happy to be able to serve you. I'm very happy to cook for more than just my son this summer. I'm happy to see all of you. We will see you in a little bit.
Thank you. Another big change, guys, this year's locker rooms. In the past, it's just been a place where you could drop your bag, and after-school athletes were asking you not to do that. And for PE class, even when you go in there for PE, what you go in with, you come out with. That's really the goal. The room's going to be emptied out, okay? So that's locker rooms. Backpacks, the good news, I know the one thing a lot of people have always wanted to change about Unity, can you let us take our backpacks to class? We are allowing you to take your backpacks to class this year. We're also asking you to do your best to hang it on the back of your chair. Just don't throw it in the hall or in the aisle where everyone's going to trip over it. We're doing that, again, the why, because we want you to not have to go to your locker. We don't want you to have to congregate in these smaller areas if we can avoid that. So that's backpacks. Previously, in other years, if you wanted to purchase a second locker, we have done that. Student Council has done that, where you can purchase a second locker for $10. We're going to get Student Council going here. We're going to invite people to apply to be on Student Council, and that's going to be one of the first mini little fundraiser projects I think we can launch is, can I rent a second locker? And if that's something that interests you, stay tuned for more on that. Water fountains, we've ordered 2 new water fountains that are the motion sensor for water bottles. Again, bring your own water bottle from home, but we'll have better water fountains. They're coming, so they're not bagged up for the whole year. We're going to switch out a couple of them. Doorways, we're asking teachers to pop doors open, hold doors open. We don't want you guys all touching doorknobs. We're going to have the door, as you came in this morning, the inside door was automatically open for you. I'll try my best to hold the other door. We really kind of need to minimize touching doors. You know what, guys, the other thing too is so much of this is changing. We have a COVID leadership team.
that meets every Thursday morning, and we are going to be evaluating what are we missing, what is going well, what's not going well. And when we make changes, we're just going to email that out to you as a student body. So please, again, get into the habit of checking your school email. Mr. Baima, you are here. We're going to turn it over to you, looking back and looking ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dykstra. When he asked me yesterday to come up here and speak a little bit, I just asked him, what would you like me to touch on? And he said, well, if you could talk a little bit about how we as Christians can live well, putting our feet on the ground every day, getting out of bed in the midst of a season of change and a lot of doubt and uncertainty. I said, okay, I will try to answer this existential life question that people have been struggling to answer for 2,000 years. How long do I have? 5 minutes. Okay, so if I can answer this, I probably won't work at Unity anymore. I'll go on a national book tour, best-selling author. So I just put a few things together a little bit just to talk about, how do we live well this year as a school? Looking back at the past 4 or 5 months, I think we can all agree that the last 4 or 5 months were pretty challenging sometimes, and that they were not always easy. If you think about the different things that we've had to change and adjust to, just by a raise of hands, put your hand up if over the last number of months you've had to lose a concert or a sports season or a family vacation or something that you were really hoping for and looking forward to. Put your hands up. Just take a look around and see how many hands are in the air. And you can just see that this COVID stuff, this pandemic, isn't impacting just you personally, but it's impacted all of us. And we as a community have been impacted by this communally. And it's okay to understand that we're going through a grieving process and that some of us still might be mourning losing some of those things. So the emotions that you're feeling, some days it might be a mix of emotions where you're going through, some days you're fine, some days you're pretty bummed out and sad, some days you're angry, and as you fluctuate through all of those emotions, that is perfectly fine and that is okay. I think sometimes the risk that we have as Christians is we want to try to push everything very quickly to the silver lining and, everything's going to be okay and we got to think of the one positive thing too. But I think it's okay too just to acknowledge the hardships that we've gone through and the things that we've lost and to be okay with that as well. And we're talking a little bit too about just resetting expectations. You've heard from Mr. Dykstra about all of the different changes that we have to enact this year. It's going to be different if you're hoping to come into the school year this year and everything will be the same. It's the same exact Unity I've gone to for the past 2 or 3 years. I think we just have to be realistic and set some new expectations that this school year will operate a little bit differently. It might feel different on a day-to-day basis. We're going to have to change the way that we do things. So just having expectations already here on day one that things will be a little bit different, and that's okay, and we're going to work through it together. Pay attention to the little things as well. Sometimes when it's difficult to get out of bed, when you don't have that motivation, when it seems like things are changing constantly around you, pay attention to those small things that you can do. Your sleep, your nutrition, your hydration. Try to do those things to take care of yourself as best as you can each and every day, and look out for your friends as well. If you're struggling or if you see a friend that is struggling, speak out and talk to someone. Talk to a coach, talk to a teacher, talk to someone in the front office. You notice so many people around you that have lost things and are mourning and grieving to different degrees. Talk to someone about it. The hard part is when you just suffer in silence or you see someone else who's struggling and you don't know how to help. The best thing that you can do, talk to an adult. We may not have all the answers, but we can steer people in the best direction possible to get the help that you need. And the other thing too is just we all need a lot of grace in this season. You will need grace as students. I think for those of you that are returning, Hopefully you experienced a lot of grace as we switched to online learning last spring. Just with grace on extensions and deadlines and homework and all of that. We tried as staff to give as much grace as possible, but we just ask as staff for your grace as well, that you'd be gracious with us as we don't always have the answers to everything. We're constantly adjusting to changes that are coming from the government, from the school board and all that. So we just ask to really do this year well. We just ask for your grace on us, that you would be willing to be patient with us and empathetic to all the changes going on. So we're excited to have all of you back. We're excited for this year together. These are just a couple quick tips to help us have a really strong year in the midst of all this change and uncertainty.
Thank you, Mr. Baima. We're pretty much out of time. I had a few kind of devotional thoughts. I think I'm just going to push that back to another chapel. I just read a quote that really resonated with me from Maya Angelou. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And I would really encourage you to take the focus off yourself and to really think about, how do I make those around me feel? Because that's what they're going to remember about you 20 years from now, 30 years from now. They're not going to remember the outcome of a game or how well a concert went or what your grade point average was or your class rank, but they are going to remember how you made them feel. So take that thought with you as you go into today. I want to encourage, again, we are making decisions quickly here, so now I'm suddenly thinking, how can we dismiss for break lines? So I am going to ask that the freshmen and sophomores, just wait until I've announced the junior-senior plan. I think if freshmen and sophomores go out, you can go out the side door. If you're down here, you can go out that door, out that hallway, or you can go out that door. Let's have freshmen and sophomores go this way out of those 3 locations to get in line for snack. Juniors and seniors, really you have your options are this way. And if you want to move down, if you're juniors and seniors and you want to come down low and up around, let's try to do that. I know in the past we've had people kind of running to break. We ask you not to run. Let's just see if we can pull this off, okay? You have a great day. Enjoy your break.